What's up, everyone? All you early birds checking in? I respect it.
What's up, everyone?
For a lot of you guys, it's probably the first time you're seeing this handsome gentleman with me, the man, the myth, the legend himself.
Uwu.
Ooh, the hair pog. Yeah, nice palm background. That's a good one.
That is a good one.
Is that Harry Styles? Oh man, isn't that dude from like One Direction? The name sounds kind of familiar.
I have no idea.
Are you part of a boy band? I think is the question that everyone wants to know.
Ah, no.
Oh man, you're missing out.
I actually know a couple of Korean dudes that are in a boy band over out in Korea. I lost touch with them, but I can't really talk about it.
Hmm.
Apparently, they're famous. Whatever.
We should start a boy band.
I think, yeah, I'm down
Okay,
to
cool.
do that.
So like a keyboard boy band. What could go wrong? That sounds like a really good idea, honestly.
I think Garrett is the one with the good voice, though.
Yeah. Well, we'll invite Garrett, of course. No big deal.
Oh, yeah, for sure. He's part Asian now.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like honorary, I think, at best.
We've adopted you.
Yes. Oh man. We're just doing a little bit of a pre-show right now, guys, making sure everything works okay. You guys know the drill at this point. We'll officially go live in a few moments once a few more people roll in. But this is going to be a pretty chill stream, pretty casual stream. We'll be checking the chat quite a bit. But definitely, if you guys have questions or whatever, or you want us to see something, use the @TopClack tag so we can see it a lot better. Garrett is part Asian? That's the word on the street now, right?
Is he in here?
Uh,
Yo, Dixie, you in here?
he said he was going to tune in, but we're a little bit early, so you never know what's going to happen.
Word.
The Clackers? I don't know. That's not. That's too obvious of a boy band name, I think. We need something a little bit more obscure.
Mm-hmm.
Like Project Keyboard or something.
I'm down with that.
We'll just steal that name. No big deal. Have we tried the red inks? Thoughts compared to the other colors? I have not, but as far as I'm aware, the only difference is the color in the spring. So it's just a
Uh,
lighter black ink, if I'm not mistaken.
Damn, I should have grabbed those before the stream.
I haven't tried them,
Um,
but that's pretty much what Jay tells me. So I mean,
it
it's an ink, but it's red.
it, f- it feels the same. I think it's just the weight, but
Yeah,
we lube the switches so that kind of any
yeah,
scratchiness or whatever, it's gets removed.
yeah. A lot of people spring swap anyways, so it's cool that you can get it in the red color finally. Though I mean, it's a little bright, but a lot of people
Hmm.
seem to be pretty into it.
I think what surprised me the most. Actually, we'll talk about that later.
Okay, all right, all right. All right.
Mhm.
We'll talk about stuff later.
Yeah,
Clack Attack. Oof, that sounds like a really like poorly produced
it's
movie
like
about
J Rock
keyboards.
or something.
Yeah. Doles asking ETA on Top Clack Wiki. That's a really good question. I haven't worked on that in a while,
Oh man.
but I really do need to finish that because what's funny is we're actually like really close to launching. Like
Hmm.
very little stuff still needs to be done, and we just like haven't finished it up yet. And a lot of that's my fault, so I apologize for that. But once
What are
that
the
goes live, it's
rumors?
gonna be pretty cool.
Oh, we're talking about the part Asian thing.
Ink Browns win. Uh, yeah. See, like the problem with Gateron Browns is they're just like they're not that good. They're okay, but they're not that good. What are these band names? Yikes! Yeah, pretty bad. Could be worse. Who's been leaking that info? Oh, Dixie is here. Oh crap!
He is. It's your
Welcome,
boy.
welcome, Dixie. We'll be officially beating the show in just a few moments. McMerlin made it. Nice, nice.
It's your boy.
it's your
Sushi.
boys. It is at least two of your boys,
Mm-hmm.
give or take.
Thanks, bro. This is I grew it out a little bit since the meetup. This is about it.
It looks about the same. I feel like.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't really grow full facial hair. It gets all patchy, so I gotta like clean it up. These are the 6XXs, I think. Beer check. It's called. Let's see if you can.
Fantastic can design.
It's it's a hazy IPA located out in Evanston, Illinois, which is pretty close to Chicago. It's all right.
Insufficient clearance, was that the name of it?
Yeah, insufficient clearance by Sketchbook Brewing.
Nice, nice. I do like some hazy IPAs. No beer for me, unfortunately. It's a little too early for me to want to drink. I'm just staying hydrated with a bunch of water. What hair product do you use? Ask Technics. Jeez.
What's it called? I don't know, some kind of clay, and then hairspray and a blow dryer or hair dryer.
Nice, nice. Dixie Mac asking if you're in purgatory. the white palm background.
It's palm.
You should just convince everyone it's palm. You just live in
It
a
is.
palm
It
house.
is palm. Yeah.
That'd be amazing.
I just shave off like sheets off 1.5 millimeters off the walls and then make you guys plates. That's basically what I do.
Oh man, that's fantastic. That is fantastic. Okay. Alright. Now it's probably a good time as I ever hear live. I'm gonna roll the intro real quick, then we're gonna get things started, everyone.
So fancy.
Yeah, we fancy out here, guys. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a special episode of Top Clack. I am your boy Quakums, joined by 159 of Project Keyboard, and we are here to do a little bit of a recap on the very recent Seattle keyboard meetup that happened, and kind of our surrounding experiences of the weekend and the meetup entirely. And I'm going to talk a little bit about how you might organize a meetup and why you might want to go to a meetup as well. So, first of all, 159, thank you so much for joining me. I know you're a very busy guy shaving plates off your wall.
It's good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. So, we're going to start out with just a little bit about how our weekend kind of started, and just kind of take it from the start to finish, because we had a pretty good weekend, I would say. You and I shared an Airbnb as well with 6 other mechanical keyboard enthusiasts, and that was a really, really good time before the meetup. So we kind of just did our own thing. We had a pretty large Airbnb because there was quite a few of us, and we kind of just overtook the place with keyboards all over the table and everything. It was a really good time. How do you feel about our Airbnb? I feel like we did an okay job with picking this one.
I think it was great. I mean, I talked to you guys like almost on a daily basis. So when I got dropped off with the Uber, I just swung the door open and you know.
Yeah.
Like, oh, what's up?
Pizza on the counter, beer in the fridge.
Exactly. Oh yeah, that was the thing. Like, I was on the flight and I bought Wi-Fi or whatever, and I was just like, dude, I'm on the flight and I'm like, I'm hangry right now. We need food. What are we gonna eat? What are we gonna drink? And you guys came through with the pizza and the beers. So thank you for that.
Yeah, we try to make it casual and chill and comfy, and that's kind of what it is. Because like usually, like you said, we talk like all the time. Like we've been talking for months, and like a lot of us in the community, we just talk to each other like all day, every day. But you never necessarily like see each other's face when you're just online. So like
Right.
even today, a lot of people have probably never seen you before, so this is their first time seeing you, and it's always interesting to put names to faces.
Mm-hmm.
So like when you walk into the Airbnb, for example, and you see all of us, and it's kind of like a surreal experience, right?
I think, well, for me it was different because I think I already met everyone. Upas Upas was the one who kind of like tripped me out because I've never seen Upas before the meetup. But yeah, I mean, I watch you guys stream, so I see you all the time. But yeah, it was really, really, really dope seeing you guys in person, hanging out.
Heck yeah.
Brian's hella tall, dude. He's fucking tall as hell.
I'm an unfortunately large person. But yeah, we had a really good time at the Airbnb. When we first got there, a lot of you might have seen that we did do a stream that Thursday. It was a little bit later than our normal ones. I think we did 7:30 p.m. instead of 6 p.m. Pacific time. You weren't quite there yet for that one, Josh, since you flew in a little bit later. But that was kind of the most janky setup of all time. So the guys that actually maybe watched that stream will probably know that I think we took a couple behind the scenes shots for Purple Chat in our Discord. But it was such a mess, man. We had like laptops and cables everywhere. We had chairs set up with like keyboards and laptops on them. We like brought over this like entertainment center with the TV and like hooked a laptop up to that. We had like 4 screens going, and Jay and I are just sitting on like what looked like a casting couch. And we're just trying to nail down this stream, and we managed to get through it, and it was an absolute nightmare, but it was still really fun in the end, and we were glad we were able to actually stream from the Airbnb, because we weren't sure if we were actually going to be able to. We got there. The first thing we did walking in the door, speed test. And we were getting like 4 megabit up, and it was a little sketchy, because that's pretty low, and usually you don't want to stream at something like that.
Right.
But we still made it work. We had to stream at a little bit lower quality than we wanted to, partly because of network and partly because of the laptop we were using. Shout out to Gio's laptop, though. That was a trooper, even though we couldn't get the quality that we wanted. But yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, I was trying to catch the stream on the plane, but the Wi-Fi on the plane was just so bad. I was like, I had the setting at like 120 or 140p or something like that. Still couldn't stream it. Audio didn't work, and I was just like, I'll just see you guys in a few hours.
Yeah, you're gonna walk through the door later anyway, so
right.
It's not a big deal. But yeah, through thick and thin, we definitely made it, and that was pretty awesome. So let's talk a little bit about the days leading up to the meetup, like the kind of things that we did. We mostly just hung out with a lot of other keyboard enthusiasts. We didn't really do a whole lot outside of that. We got some pretty dope food, though, I would say. So what was your favorite thing that we ate throughout the entire meetup weekend? Because I think we did pretty well on food. I've been to a lot of places, and I've had a lot of food at other meetups and stuff like that, and I feel like even like the not so good stuff was still pretty good.
I have to agree with sushi. You need a burger. I had a bison burger, and that was pretty good. Every time I see a bison burger, I'll get that. But I think the best tasting at that moment was me eating like how many slices of pizza did I eat when I landed?
You walked in, and you just walked down like
8 pieces.
Yeah, you walked down like a whole pizza. It was pretty nuts. I saw you just like get up over and over and over. I'm like, why don't you just bring the box over, dude? Like
I should have.
Yeah. Like efficiency, man. But yeah, you went ham on that pizza. That pizza was pretty good. And then I think it was Friday afternoon, we went for lunch, and we went to Katsu Burger.
That was all right.
Katsu Burger was pretty good. I was pretty happy with what I got, personally. But yeah, I think the pinnacle of the meetup weekend for me was still, like you mentioned, the You Need a Burger.
Yeah.
Stupid naming convention aside, that place was actually amazing, straight up.
Yeah.
It might have been the best burger I've ever had.
I wouldn't say the best burger, but it was pretty good. It was pretty dank.
Yeah. So aside from that, we had some pretty good food and pretty good drinks. We were drinking like pretty much every night too. Especially shout out to Gio for just like that dude would just like wake up and start drinking. He would just drink like all day. And I'm like, bro, what are you doing? It's like noon, right. And he's like, oh, holy shit!
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Gio's liver for somehow still being existent.
Oh man! But you know what the surprising thing is, like Gio's responsible. Like he woke up at Sunday morning after we've been like just drinking and all that. He just woke up at like 6 a.m. Gio, what time did you leave?
Yeah, I think Gio went to bed a lot before. He would have been quite a ways before us that night, at least, because he did have to wake up really early, right, to catch his flight, which is really a bummer. It's always a bummer when you're trying to like stay up and hang out with people and drink, and then you have to get up at like 6 a.m. the next morning for a flight. It's just never a good time. Yeah,
I booked my flight for like 5, 6 because I knew I would probably not be sleeping all weekend.
Yeah, definitely. So let's move in a little bit to the actual day of the meetup, because obviously that's what most people are in town for. That's what most people fly in for. Like the meetup is kind of the coup de grace of the entire weekend. And this was actually your very first meetup, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yep, it was. Didn't really feel. I wasn't really active in the community and probably until like a year ago. Didn't know people well enough to feel like I wanted to go out to the meetup and stuff like that. Was pretty busy at the time too. Skipped out on KeyCon, but I knew most of you guys that I basically hang out on a regular basis. We're gonna all be at Seattle, so it's like, all right, I'm booking this flight. We're gonna go come out, see you guys.
Yeah, definitely. So as far as like the meetup experience itself, like the entire meetup event, how did you feel about it for being your first meetup?
But honestly, it exceeded everything that I can imagine. It was good seeing everyone. It had that like old school kickback vibe, just chilling, drinking, talking, just catching up. I enjoyed it a lot. I'm excited for
Nice.
the next one actually.
Yeah. Are you to come to NorCal in November?
Probably, I would say like 90% sure that I'm gonna go.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I'm gonna swap over to showing off a little bit of an album here on stream, so you guys can kind of see this. Shout out to Hattie, a user in the community that took all these pictures. This is his album, and he gave me permission to use it. And there are a lot of really cool pictures in here. This was like the biggest and best Seattle meetup album I have like ever seen. It covers lots of people, lots of things going on, as well as just the keyboards themselves. So we're gonna kind of walk through this and kind of give you, I don't want to say like a virtual tour of the meetup itself, but kind of give you a feel of what might have happened if you were there and you missed out on the meetup. So, oh yeah, I'll link the album, guys. Sorry. Oh, that
I
works.
got you.
You're way ahead of me. Thanks, dog. Good stuff. So we start out here. This is actually like where you kind of entered the meetup. This whole hallway here that you see on stream right now. This was kind of like the entry area. There is a little booth over here that you can't really see. That's in front of all these people. And then there's booths lined up on kind of both sides here. On the right side, we had. So this is the hallway where vendors basically set up a little bit. If you had paid for a kind of booth, if you will. Over on this left side, there's like an entire wall of Signature Plastics stuff. So Melissa was there of Signature Plastics. She's kind of one of the customer service representatives that work there. And she had a ton of Signature Plastics key sets and stuff laid out throughout that entire wall. So that was pretty cool. On this right side, we had who did we have? We had MK Ultra was the first booth you kind of see as you get in here. He was kind of talking about some of his foam stuff and showing off the differences between foamed and non-foamed boards and stuff like that. After that, we had GMK there as well. GMK Andy, one of GMK's newest employees and a representative in our kind of U.S. area. Since he doesn't actually live in Germany, he's local here to Seattle, which is pretty cool. He had a little booth set up there as well. And then after that, there was actually a little kind of an artisan casting or artisan sculpting demonstration area over here beyond this area. And I didn't really check that out too much, but that's kind of what we did the last couple years as well, where you have someone kind of hosting there, whether it's like some kind of amateur artisan maker or something, and then you kind of just they cast and not cast, sorry, they sculpt different artisans, and people are just kind of free to play around with the clay and stuff and make their own designs, and it was really cool. Hattie saying he took photos of all these things. Yeah, I should be scrolling. I'm sorry, guys. Things are. I'm not talking in the order that things are, unfortunately, but we'll kind of get to that. So this, like you saw on stream yesterday, Jay and I were wearing these cute little kind of octopus keyboard shirts. Basically, if you bought a ticket for the meetup and you attended the meetup, you got one of these. So really simple. Pretty much everyone got one. I actually love the design. The shirt's super comfortable. I was wearing it yesterday. Love it. And then after that, we actually have a bunch of mold pictures from Signature Plastics, which was pretty cool. So they brought some of the keycap molds they used to actually make the double shot injection molded keycaps. So I didn't actually get to check this out in person. I totally didn't even realize it was there. Were you able to see this?
I did not. I did walk by that area. It looked like everyone was like into the zone, so I didn't want to disturb anyone. But it looked pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, these pictures are great, by the way. So it kind of gives us a real good idea of how these things work and kind of the processes behind the front of signature plastics themselves. So this kind of shows you like the molds of the caps, the plastic casting and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. So you kind of get a good idea of these pictures here. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I didn't see this at all. Actually,
I,
I
I,
just
I
saw them.
yeah, I'm kind of surprised that I missed this. I don't know. I saw like all their keyboards and stuff, but I guess somehow I just missed this on the exact same table. But of course, here is Melissa of Signature Plastics, and this is kind of the fleet of keyboards that they brought with all sorts of signature plastic keycaps. Of course, lots of SA sculpt, lots of DSA profile, lots of DCS, as well as other things. So they were really kind of showing off their entire array of things that they carry over at Signature Plastics, which is pretty cool. She's pretty nice, and as you can see, tons and tons and tons of keycaps, which is always cool. This little picture here is a picture of myself and Geo. It's actually Geo over here to my right, and we're at the MK Ultra booth. This is the owner and operator of MK Ultra, and he was kind of walking me through foamed versus unfoamed boards. He had a bunch of samples laid out of similar boards. Basically, he'd have one that is normal and one that has like all this foam that he's using here, and he was just having me type back and forth on them to see the difference, and there was indeed a difference. And he was kind of doing some like giveaway stuff, I think, and people giving people discounts and such. So that was kind of cool. There's a couple pictures of some of his foam, and then moving on here. Sorry, go on.
Like, was there like an audible difference, or was it like feel? I didn't
Well,
get a
so
chance to try it.
it was a noticeable difference. Yes, definitely. It was definitely a quieter, deeper sound, as you would expect from putting foam or almost any other material into a keyboard. It's going to change the acoustics. This isn't
Right.
really rocket science here. This is kind of just the way this works. But you know,
Would you?
it is.
Right.
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool, and I still have some samples here at a test. I want to put some of these kind of plate foams into
Hmm.
one of my next builds. I just gotta wait till the next 60% I build because that's the only ones I actually got them cut for.
Hmm.
So we'll have to wait a little bit of time for that. But I mean, it was kind of cool. But also, it's like there was a lot of people at this meetup. There was
Right.
300 and I think there was 365 people in attendance out of
Yeah.
422 that registered. So pretty large turnout, all things considered. And that's gonna mean there's a lot of noise, a lot of people talking, a lot of people clacking away on keyboards. There's just a lot of noise that went on in this meetup. So it's kind of hard to like sit down at any point in this meetup and type on a board and be like, oh yeah, that sounds good or that sounds bad. Because a lot of
Hmm.
the times you can't really hear because there's just so much noise.
Right. Totally agree.
Yeah, so moving on here, he's got some pictures of the talks that actually happened before the meetup. We did not go to these because, I or all of us are just way too lazy and we didn't we didn't quite get up early enough for it, I guess.
uh,
I know like almost everyone in the Airbnb wanted to go, but no one ever did. So, I don't know.
I
Just
think we opted for
shows,
breakfast.
yeah, yeah, which was also fine.
Yes.
But yeah, there were a couple pretty good talks I hear. Of course, I wasn't there, like I just said, but I imagine they went pretty well. This one is Isabella Moreira, who is I believe she's a UX designer slash developer, engineer, whatever you want to call it. She has a pretty lengthy and accomplished background in a lot of different technological fields. I think she's worked for Microsoft and Google, among other places. I don't know exactly where she resides now. But along with her, there was a talk with Cassidy, who you might have seen. We've had her on Top Clack before. She's the designer of XDA Scrabble. She used to work as a developer for Amazon for the Alexa project. She's very, very, very smart, talented individual, and I believe they gave kind of a talk together. Really good time. They're both pretty awesome. Scrolling down here, this one is Melissa of Signature Plastics, where she gave a talk on. Shout out to Haiti for actually putting the quotes around here, so I can actually see what happened since I wasn't actually there for it. But she was talking about like injection molding and the company's future plans, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool. And
So
then
we missed
here,
out.
yeah, I mean they were probably pretty cool, honestly. I
Yeah.
imagine they would be. Cassidy was MC. Okay, there were tons of puns. Yeah, Cassidy's kind of a pun genie, I guess you could say. She's way better than Neck Merlin.
Oh.
Got him. So, oh, you're gonna be uploading a VOD of it? Okay, that's really cool. That's pretty cool, actually. I wanna check that out. Over on here is a picture of this. This is the keycap sculpting table I was talking about. Not the best angle, but you can kind of see what they're doing here. People just kind of sculpting their own stuff, which is pretty cool. And here is the opposite picture of the first picture. So this is the other end of the hallway with Signature Plastics table being over here, GMK and MK Ultra, and the keycap sculpting table on this left side here of the picture. This was the entrance back here. And then now moving on to some keyboards. And the first keyboard we see is it's the Kepler. Weird, interesting. So definitely a pretty awesome keyboard. I guess we had two of them there. You had one and I had one. Then you also had the 65, which I don't think is in any of these pictures, or it might be. And I'm just silly.
I have it right here.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Right
So this
here.
was that was definitely one of the crown jewels of the meetup, in my opinion. That one, the Kepler 65, the Bauer, and the HBCP, as well as the Chimera by Canon Keys, I thought were all pretty top tier boards.
For sure.
So that was pretty cool to see. Got a lot of Alice and Alice-esque clones going on there. One thing I like about this album a lot is it's not just about keyboards. He takes a lot of pictures of like the people and just like the overall like atmosphere and environment, which is pretty cool. Here's a fun little picture with Jay, and you can see how short he is. Like he's actually Jay's
Man,
kind
you're
of
just
short.
taking shots at everyone today.
Well, that's just what I do. Hey, man, I'm not perfect either, so it's fine. He's actually mid-conversation here with Luke Barron, who is the designer of the Iron 165, which is an upcoming 65% that has a little bit of hype behind it. We covered that a few weeks ago on the show. Pretty cool-looking board. This next picture down is actually kind of the Seekeys volunteer area here, where they have some giveaway items, as well as kind of just them hanging out. Can't really see. This is actually Krellbit here with this Handerbait t-shirt on that says, "How did this hit MOQ?" Which is pretty silly, but it is what it is. If you know Krellbit, this is right up his alley. He's kind of a meme lord.
I think that's in Comic Sans too.
I am positive it is. Yeah, yeah. So also shout out to all the Seekeys volunteers, because they work like non-stop during all the meetup events and like all the segments throughout, and it's just ridiculous the amount of work they put in for nothing in return.
You know what? I actually lost my phone while I was there, right? And I was kind of tripping out because I couldn't find it, and I was like looking for it. So I took Gio's phone, I called my own phone, and they basically found it, and they're holding on to it. I was really thankful for that.
Yeah, lots of them are really, really awesome dudes, and it's crazy the amount of effort they put into it just to help people.
Yeah.
Absolutely love that. So of course we got more keyboards, lots of keyboards. There are some TGR boards, some Key Cult boards.
Is that a shirt?
Which one
underneath?
The number one.
The Never mind. We can go.
I don't know. This next picture. This is Mike of Novel Keys in this one. Just in case you wanted an angle on him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then lots of cool keyboards, of course. TGR Janes.
That one was dope. That Anna was really dope.
Oh, the Jane?
Yeah, if you saw that, there's I don't know if did Caustic do that. I'm not sure if Caustic did that or not.
Yeah.
I should have asked.
Oh, is this actually like an Anno?
That's
fade?
Anno, yeah.
That's not
That's
like
an Anno
lighting.
fade.
Oh wow,
Mm-hmm.
that's really cool. Yeah, I didn't actually see this board when I was there. That's something I must have missed. It is Caustic. Okay. Nice, very nice.
My boy's brutal right there. Whose board was that? Oh, that was Ray's, right?
Yeah, this was one of Ray's boards. This is the brutal, and he had orange. Oh no, salmon Alps in there, I believe.
Right.
With some kind of vintage caps there. It was a cool board. And then one of my favorite parts of meetups, and I don't mean to sound negative in any way, but I've been to a lot of meetups at this point, and I've seen a lot of boards. And doing what I do, I tend to type on a lot of boards and build a lot of boards also. So I get a lot of experiences. One thing I don't have very much experience in is vintage boards. And
Right.
so when I go to meetups, one of the things I like the most is just walking around checking out all the vintage boards that I've never seen before.
Mm-hmm.
Beam Spring, I've played around with some Beam Springs before. They're pretty awesome, always fun to see. But then you get into a lot of stuff like this, and it's like, this is just ridiculous, but this is amazing. This key PCB or whatever this is called here. This
I
is
didn't see that.
this terminal. Yeah,
Wow.
like this is the kind of stuff I go nuts for at meetups because like they're always so awful too. Like that's the best part. You type on them and you're like, this is absolute trash.
Right.
But it's such a neat product and it's such a cool piece of history that like the vintage stuff at meetups, I go crazy for that stuff. I always search all that. Here's another angle of it here. Pretty awesome, man. Yeah, terminal was working too, which is pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah, I think people brought their own power banks just to, like have some of their boards lit up. That was pretty dope.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Thank you very much, Talisman Solutions, for the 159 bits, and again for the second and now third wave of 159 bits in reference to the name. So, thank you so much, man. Appreciate that. Yeah, so a lot of vintage stuff pictured here, which is awesome. I love this kind of stuff. Had some SKCL yellows in this Zenith board here. Of course, we had artisans galore. We had multiple artisan makers there. We had a lot of very prolific ones even. We had Binge of Hungerworks Studio. He comes to pretty much all the Seattle meetups these days. We had Marcus, a.k.a. Eat the Food, a.k.a. Nightcaps. He comes to a lot of them there. He actually only lives about an hour away from me right now. He just moved not too long ago. So that's pretty cool. They were there kind of showing off caps and stuff. And you can see that some of these tables are just absolutely filled with artisans. And then
I think they had like 3 tables of artisans.
Yeah, definitely. This one is our first picture in the album of Upas. So this is Upas of Canyon Keys here. It's always fun to...
Jay's new crush.
Yeah, he's a good-looking dude, man. He really is.
He is.
Yeah, so we have Upas here with Ray over here, my boy Ray, and then top Clack moderator Sushi over here on the far left, then Krelbit kind of sneaking off to the far right. And then we have Langlandia actually back here peeking through the background, who is the designer of GMK Cafe, and he's very ambitiously wearing a shirt with his username on it.
I love that shirt.
It was
I need to get one.
It was a pretty cool shirt, but I mean, like, what do you have to think about, like, to wear a shirt like with your own username on it? Like, that's pretty.
I wish I did that. I should have done that.
Maybe we all should have done that. Maybe
we should have all done that.
Maybe
we'll
all
do next year.
Up. Yeah, we all messed up. He's tall. I guess he's pretty tall. I mean, he was quite a bit shorter than me, I think, but that's kind of just how that goes. I like this picture here just because this is a keyboard you don't see too often, and if you haven't been around in the hobby, you probably have no idea what this is. This is called the Level. This was a prototype board that never actually went into group buy, but there is like 10, 15, maybe 20 prototypes floating around the community. It's just called the Level, and it's like a big like metal base with an acrylic plate, and it's low profile. It's a really goofy looking board, to be totally honest, but it had a lot of charm. And the guy behind it isn't so much in the community anymore, so I always love seeing the Level because it's such a rare gem in our community. Right below that, we have the table that I was at. So a lot of these are my boards. And then I shared this table with Starstone. I think these were his 4 boards. Then this one was Ray's, and I don't remember who these ones belonged to. I think this one was also Ray's. But this whole kind of like middle section here was all me. So showing off some boards there. This was a board on... Oh wow, resolution not very good on that picture. This was one of the boards on GMK's table. Sorry, what were you going to say?
I was gonna say you should have grabbed that Q or asked for that Q.
Grab the what?
The Q.
Oh, the Q.
You should have asked him if you could give him Q or something like that.
Oh man, feels bad, but yeah.
Maybe it's at the Airbnb. Who knows? You should hit him up.
Yeah, I guess I should. I just don't understand. I don't understand. It shouldn't have been lost there though.
Yeah. I mean, where else could it be?
I don't know. Just for some context, I lost the Q key for my GMK Space Cadet, which is actually the board I'm using now. So as you can see, I'm actually just using the 8 key from the numpad because it's the same profile. So very, very unfortunate. Want to buy Space Cadet Q, please. But hey, that's how it goes. So yeah, lots of boards in representation here. This one, pretty cool. This is the Koyu tank. So this is that like I don't know, what was it, $1,000 in group buy or $900 in group buy? A very expensive keyboard. The all brass PVD Koyu from RamaWorks. Very cool board. Ridiculously heavy though. And yeah, we got some more cool shots of people. This is a really good picture because it kind of shows how big the meetup really was. The meetup room actually pretty massive, and it was kind of just like jam packed, almost shoulder to shoulder with people. So this kind of gives you an idea of just how large it was. What did you think about like how many clones of the Alice we had there? Because now that it's kind of more open source, like everyone's kind of trying their own thing, and we had so many different Alice clones and
I mean,
attempts.
I think it's really cool because for me, I was never interested in like split, ortho, ergo stuff because it was just kind of weird for me typing on it. Um, but when I got the Alice, it was like a good transition. It didn't take me too much to adjust, so I think it's like a nice in between transition, kind of like what Cat does. Because like I didn't like SA caps um, until I tried Cat, and then I can jump to SA caps no problem.
Yeah, yeah. So we had quite a bit of Alice stuff going on there. I'm kind of just scrolling here, picking out pictures that I actually really like. So down here, this is a good one. So this is actually the Chimera 65. This is an upcoming project by Upas over at Canon Keys. This is kind of more of like a premium, higher end 65% that I thought was just spectacular. I really
Oh
love
yeah.
the actual overall design of it. You can't really see it too well in this picture, but back here you can see that the arrow keys and this little 3 key section over here kind of segregated from the rest of the keys, so you see a little bit more of the case, a little bit easier to find your arrow keys that way. I love that aesthetic. I think it's really, really good. And you really can't see it in here, but he's got his little logo over here as well, his little cannon on the far right top. What did you think about this one?
I loved it. I knew about it. I couldn't say anything about it, so I was just waiting. But yeah, Upas like snuck that one in. It was he yeah. It was good to see. Love that board. Looks great.
Yeah, because I never even heard about it until I guess it was Friday when he was at the Airbnb with us, and he just pulled
Right.
it out, and he was like, "Here's a Chimera," and I was like, "What is this? What is this? Like, I'm not privy to this information." But it
I
was
mean, I knew about it. I couldn't say anything about it, and I love leaking shit all the time. So I was just like, huh! I was just waiting for Upas to come through. So it was pretty cool to see it in person.
yeah, definitely. Thanks again, Talisman, for the 159 bits. I know you've been kind of continuously doing it, and I really appreciate that. Also, shout out to Japanese Horror Writer for the 1,000 rip bits as usual. Thank you so much, man. So yeah, he's got a couple pictures here on the bottom of the Chimera too, which was really, really interesting. So this is the bottom angle of the Chimera 65, and as you can see, kind of on this top part, he has this back. I don't know what to call this. I guess it's an accent piece. It's not really a brace or anything, but it's kind of
Hmm.
similar to something like the M60A, where there's kind of just a back plate, I guess you could call it. I think this one was aluminum, so it's not necessarily a weight or a secondary weight of any kind. But on this internal part, he has kind of a weight slash accent system where this outer part here that you can see is brass, if I remember correctly, and then the
Hmm.
inside is anodized aluminum. So
Hmm.
he has kind of this like weird design here. I'm still not sure how I feel about this. I feel like I like the idea of where this is going, but I don't know how well it works out here. I think the tolerances need to be a little bit tighter, maybe between the two weight pieces, because I feel like
Right.
the gaps are a little bit too big.
Hmm. I mean, this was the first prototype because I was
Yeah.
talking to Upas about that, and the thing with adding PVD anodization, it adds a little bit of thickness. So, like sometimes you want to leave a little bit of space, but yeah, it looks. I like what he did. He's doing something different. Spanning across the etching across multiple materials. Pretty good idea. I love it.
Yeah, no, definitely. For being a first proto, this came out really, really well, and I really like this idea. I do. I just I want to see this tightened up just a little bit, and I think it'll really make it sing as like an accent piece. And because I mean, when you're trying to fold like a design over two parts here, like he's trying to do the design on both the accent and the weight, as it were. Like I feel like you got to get that really, really slim. You got to get that margin super tight so it actually flows with each other.
Right. Right.
Then a couple more UPOS boards here. This one's actually pretty interesting. So those of you with a keen eye might notice something interesting about these keycaps. I don't know if you saw this one, Josh, but I remember he brought this one over to me because he wanted to know how I felt about it. So this is a Brutal 60, and these are some unnamed profile caps. I don't think there's, I think there is a name, but he doesn't actually shared it yet. So this is not Cherry profile. This is not OEM profile. This is not DCS, but it's very similar to Cherry. And I did type on a little bit. It felt a little bit more closer to DCS to me. The bottom angle is a little bit taller, and the sculpt on the final two rows here a little bit more aggressive than something like Cherry, perhaps, which is a little bit more subtle. So I don't know if you typed on this one, but I thought that was pretty cool.
I did. I did get a chance to type on it. Given the price point, and I don't know if he's is disclosing that publicly or not, but I'd definitely pick up a couple sets of that just to have around. I think they were made of PBT. They were
Yeah,
slightly thinner, but I didn't really bother me that much. I didn't really see any crazy warping. It sits doesn't sit as high as ePBT. I'm on board with it.
yeah. The legends look pretty crisp.
The
He
legend was
did.
really crisp.
Yeah,
Actually,
they were pretty good. He didn't. He did give us kind of a price estimate, but like you mentioned, I don't. It's probably best we don't actually say. But it is aiming at an affordable key set market.
right?
This is something that you'd be able to pick up and not really worry about it too much. It'd be that affordable, and it felt pretty good. It felt similar to Cherry, but also a little bit different. The PBT was not crazy smooth, but relatively smooth. Legends super crisp. So I'm looking forward to checking out one of these sets. Maybe we can get one to test out. And then he also has a few more things here on his table. He's got the Satisfaction 75, which was the first time I've seen one in person. And I was honestly pretty impressed with it. I thought it was a pretty awesome board. And man, the knob really got me. I didn't realize how much I needed a knob until until I tried the Satisfaction 75. And yeah, you can clip me saying that, whoever wants to. But yeah, did you get to play around with this one at all?
Oh man, I've been trying to convince Upas to give me that exact proto because that finish is not going to be exactly as production, and I love that color. He won't let it go. I don't know. Maybe I'll just steal it or something.
Yeah, just take it. Yeah, yeah, definitely. So he got cat profile on that right now, which is one of my favorites. And this was another one too. Kibio was they brought an experimental kind of Alice like board that was low profile, and I know I talked to a couple people. I think Sushi and Ray in particular really liked this particular board. So low profile Alice design, very interesting.
Did you get a chance to type on that?
No, I didn't type on the low pro one. No, was it pretty cool?
I no, I didn't get a chance. I know Sushi was telling me that it was pretty neat.
Yeah, they both liked it quite a bit. So maybe I missed out on not checking that out.
I mean, you were pretty popular at the meetup. You were Everyone was coming up to you. I mean, you were talking to people nonstop.
Pretty much. But
Yeah.
that's meetups, right? Like, there's so many people there. Like, everyone just kind of wants to talk to everyone.
Right.
That's how it goes. Talisman Solution, thank you so much for the tier 1 sub donated to Zerpocalypse. Appreciate that, my friend. This is Novel Keys table over here, so you can see some of their products represented here. You got the Dots desk mat, which is pretty cool. Metropolis desk mat over here. I don't remember what this one on the left of the picture is, but he had a few desk mats there. This is the
The Olivia Plus Plus, I think, right?
The Olivia Plus Plus. No.
Are you sure?
With the desk mat?
Yeah. That one.
Okay. My apologies. Maybe it is. I don't know about this desk mat. That could be an Olivia kind of thing. But yeah, he had a lot of cool things there. So he had Big Switch, obviously a pretty cool thing. Lots of people like to see that. He had the Gator Iran plushie, which I thought was just so freaking adorable. Pretty amazing. He had the Star Wars Galaxy DSA set, which actually looked a lot cooler in person than I was expecting.
Mm-hmm.
Like seeing like the renders and pictures previously, I was kind of like, I like Star Wars, but like it wasn't really my thing. But in person, actually looked really good.
Yeah.
There's a better picture of this. This is the NK65. This is one of the prototypes. So he actually had two prototypes there, the newest one and then the one right before that, I think.
Was that the Cubics on that?
Yeah, exactly. I was actually just scrolling down to find the better picture because I knew it was there. So on this one right below it, he has the NK65 proto with Taihao cubic profile. And this is obviously a black and white style key set. And similar to the one that we saw from Upas, this one is kind of aimed at a very budget, affordable, friendly market. So if you've never used Taihao Cubic before, it's relatively new as of a couple years ago. It's not my favorite, but I think it's better than OEM. I'm not a big fan of the texture of Taihao caps personally, but I think these wound up looking pretty decent, and the sculpt itself is pretty decent for the price that it's going to be. Again, I'm not sure if I can. I don't have a specific price, and I'm not going to ballpark just for the sake of this, but definitely very affordable. And then, of course, I think this one was the most recent proto of the NK65, and I was kind of typing on it and checking it out. It looks, for $140, it looks really good.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely gonna say that. Did you get a chance to check out that table at all?
Yeah, no, I spent a lot of time at that table and checking out the NK65. Yeah, for the price point, I don't think you just can't beat it.
Yeah,
And I don't know how Mike does it. I need to get in on that secret.
he's got that black magic, man. He's got. I mean, now that he's been doing it for a while,
It's the
like,
beard.
it's the beard, and it's the fact that he's outrageously wholesome.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So just some more picks here. This was Jay's. This was your table and Jay's table actually. So a lot of really epic boards on this table. As you can see, the J01 here, which is Jay's kind of personal isolation mount board. We have the Prophet over here. The IDB60, which was actually one of my favorite boards at the entire meetup. Really, really loved the amount of flex on the IDB60, even though it's not that interesting of a board aesthetically. I thought the typing experience was really, really awesome, right up my alley. Jay also brought a VEA, and he had GMK Minimal, which, fun fact, at the time, I think, at the time, was the only set of GMK Minimal in the US. So that was kind of fun there. And then your setup is actually back here. So you have a couple Sirius, or Sirii, I guess, I don't know, back here, as well as your awesome Kepler TKL, and then the Kepler 65, which was drawing a lot of attention at the meetup. I always saw someone over by that board picking it up and checking it out, typing on it.
I think they were just working out or something. I don't know what it was. It was like lifted. Yeah, someone picked it up like every 30 seconds or so.
Oh, yeah. That was a popular line at the meetup too. Like the Kepler that I had on my table, every time someone picked it up, it was like, "Do you work out with this thing?" I was like, "Yeah, yep." Clearly, I work out, as you can see, like from my very doughy physique. So this was pretty cool, and I love that you put the project keyboards or the sticker there on the back of it. I thought that was like icing on the cake. There were so many people. I was like, "Hey, check this out!" And like they didn't realize it was a sticker. They thought it was just like part of the board because it just kind of fits so well on there.
That was such a last minute thing too. It looked pretty good.
Yeah,
happy about it.
Yeah, definitely pretty awesome. A few more boards here. This is Sushi's Polycarb Alice with
drew a lot of attention.
Metaverse. Too. Yeah, really, really nice board, both aesthetically and typing experience. Below that, this is the Cipher. I believe this one was Starstones, and this was also a pretty awesome board. Honestly, love that one quite a bit. And then this is my HB85, which also drew a lot of heads because most people haven't actually seen that board. Nobody's really aware of it, apparently. Bit nicer of a shot of the J01 there. Some nice artistic shots. I like these. A couple more Starstones boards. This is the Alf X1.1, I think it's called. That one was pretty awesome. And the Zephyr with Holy Pandas and some cat profile. That was pretty awesome too. The picture right below that, one of my favorites of the entire album because you're in it and you look like so like lost in this picture.
Off. I'm like, what the hell is going on?
It's like this picture tells so many stories. I feel like so. This guy is typing on what looks to be a serious proto, and he is obviously interested in it. He is like aggressively interested in this board. And he's probably asking you some kind of question, I would imagine, and you're like really trying to grasp for like the right answer here, like without sounding like ridiculous. And it's
sorry, whoever that was. Hopefully I gave you the correct answer.
Yeah, I don't know. This is a fantastic picture. It really is. Thank you so much for the bits, Talisman Solutions, and Rumai with a bunch of 159 bits as well. That's the amount of the day apparently. So thank you so much, guys. Appreciate those bits. So yeah, love that picture. A lot of cool ones here. This is my Norba Force there. And this was kind of cool. So Langlandia, the designer for GMK Cafe, he didn't bring any keyboards, but he brought little bags of coffee beans for people to take, as well as the kind of color palette of GMK Cafe. So I thought that was kind of cute. I think
I should have grabbed the bag of
I,
the coffee.
yeah, I kind of regret not grabbing one.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it was really good coffee. I'm not a coffee expert, so
We had a coffee maker back at the Airbnb too.
yeah. Our Airbnb was pretty hooked up actually.
Yeah.
Here's I guess a better shot of the table that I was kind of occupying with a couple other people. So quite a few of those. There was quite a few Space 65s there as well. I wasn't expecting to see as many as we did. I think there was at least 5 or 6. And that board, surprisingly decent. Clue board was there as well, so Scully over with Clue board. He was kind of showing off a bunch of things here. He's got a few aluminum Clue boards there. I don't know if there's a better picture. Oh, here it is. Okay, so this thing right here down in the bottom right. So he handed me this, and he's like, "What do you think of this?" And I was holding it for a second, and I was like, "I don't even know what this is." So
What is that?
it's kind of like it's a macro pad of sorts, but the way it works is, so you have these switches on top, normal macro pad stuff, like you just do whatever. But
Okay.
as you can see, there's like kind of like a bottom plate, and then there's kind of a top assembly, and then there's these huge like screws and bolts holding this together. And if you actually look close enough, you can see springs on each of these. So what the internal core here is actually an upside down big switch from Novel Keys. And the way this worked, you can actually see the bottom poking up there. The way this worked is this entire top assembly with the switches and all pushes down. And when you push that down, it actuates the big switch.
Wow.
There's a big switch PCB under there too. It's like it's right in the middle there, and there's these normal size switches around it. So like that really caught me by surprise,
Uh
and I thought that was a really kind of cute attempt at a macro pad of sorts.
huh.
It's like it's so funny because like when you want to push the whole thing down, you just palm it and you just push like it's kind of heavy, so you have to like really kind of like yank on it. It's pretty great though. That was
I'm gonna check that out next time if he goes to the next meetup.
yeah, it was really cute. I imagine he's local to NorCal if I'm not mistaken, so he'll probably be at the NorCal one.
Sweet.
Yeah, so just normal stuff, more keyboards, more artisans as usual. Some things you don't see quite as often. Here's an EM7 limited edition. That's pretty rare. That's kind of cool. Then some more pictures with a lot of characters in it. There's me and there's Langlandia, aka Jeff. Of course, more and more keyboards as usual. I'm trying to find. Oh, here we go. So this is actually, if you've never seen it before, this is Binge of Hungerwork Studio, and this is kind of him showing off some keycaps as he does, because he's kind of a legend in the artisan community. So a couple pictures of that. He kind of has this kind of mold going on here. I think this is kind of a. I'm not an artisan expert, so I'm not going to claim to know exactly what this is, but I think this is some portion of like the synth that I believe he partly or fully designed himself. Some more cool boards. I think this was like a number 1 revision 1 or something. Yep, there we go. Pretty cool stuff there. There's so many pictures in this album, man.
I love it.
Sirius looking pretty good over here with Enjoy PBT, black on white. I think this was Ray's board, who also shared an Airbnb with us. Trying to find. I know I just saw it. I think it was this one over here. Okay, so this was actually one of my favorite tables because this setup over here, these few boards over here, these more vintage style ones, these are brought by a user that's local to Seattle named Damien. And his kind of shtick when he goes to meetups is he tries to bring the worst boards possible. And he brings like all these vintage boards that like no one's ever heard of. And it's always really fun because they're so awful. I think there's a better pick of some of these. Here's one of them. The Amstrad 128 color personal computer keyboard. Like this thing was just like abysmal. It's so fun because like they're so bad. I'm trying to. I think there's a better picture. I want to show this one off more. I think there's a better picture of that later. So I'll get back to that once we find a better picture. Here's a couple pictures of me standing next to the legend himself. This is Ryan Norbauer, if you've never seen him before. An absolute god tier human. He's pretty amazing. And the way this actually worked was pretty cool. So SeaKeys this year decided that they were going to give what are effectively tours, miniature tours of keyboard meetups. And basically the way it worked was if you were new to keyboards or you just wanted to learn or you just wanted to check out what's going on or whatever, a SeaKeys volunteer would take a group of people around on a tour to different tables. And they asked me to be at my table at a specific time so I could explain some stuff. And so they brought this group of, I don't know, maybe like 10 people over, 10 or 15 people over. And this was a really cool idea. I thought this was amazing. And so all these newbies just like gathered around my table, and the volunteer was just asking me questions about like my boards and explaining what I had and what I liked, what I disliked, stuff like that. And so all these people like were genuinely interested. And it was such a surreal moment, like when you see people that are like, oh yeah, they're asking questions about this and that, and it was such a wholesome kind of event, and it was really, really cool. And I think this was probably me explaining why I liked the Sirius so much, why I liked Palm so much. And Norbauer is like either questioning me here, or he's like maybe I should try this Palm thing. And then here's probably a follow-up picture where I think he clearly has an epiphany in this picture.
Yeah.
he's like Palm, okay, got it. Let me try that. And then here he's kind of double guessing himself. This series of pictures is really great just to look at Norbauer.
Oh man,
absolutely love it. So he's probably trolling me in his head because he's a genius and I'm not. But yeah, really fun. So all these people kind of gathering around, just like learning about like keyboards. So I'm just like telling them like some basic stuff. Really, really cool stuff. Love that. I think something similar kind of going on here. This is Brandon. This is actually the head of SeaKeys. He's kind of the man, the myth, the legend behind everything that goes on with the meetup. So shout outs to him. He's probably not watching, but Brandon, a really cool dude. Standing next to Corbin Dallas, who's pretty active in the Seattle meetup stuff going on, and he's really nice as well. Also, we saw so many Dolch shirts. I was surprised. I must have saw at least a dozen Dolch shirts, which was pretty awesome. I didn't think those sold that well, but apparently they did.
It's a good shirt.
It's a great shirt. Very, very comfy. So here's another shot of the SeaKeys volunteer booth, and I like this one a lot because this dude back here is like obviously super tired in the back left middle there. He's just like, I need some sleep.
I feel him.
And yeah, because a lot of these people were getting up at like 6, 7 in the morning just to like start doing stuff for the meetup. And nothing for the meetup didn't even start until like 10 o'clock, 10 a.m. is when the talk started. So all these people were just getting up and setting up like, at really wee hours of the morning practically, at least, in my eyes, because I'm kind of a night person. So once again, shout out to all these volunteers doing the awesome stuff that no one else wants to take the time to do. Ah, perfect. Here's the picture I was looking for. So this was probably the worst keyboard of the meetup. And I mean that in the best way. So he was explaining this to me. It felt awful, by the way. This was like truly an awful typing experience. He was telling me that the computer that when you hook this up to, you don't actually know what you're going to get when you press a key. It's all based on the actual like software level of it. So like one key has like 10 or 20 different things it could do based on what you're doing. And it's like really hard to navigate when you type. It's amazing. So
that's insane.
Yeah. Fun fact, this is also made by Timex, who you might know as a watch manufacturer. So Timex actually did this. This is the Timex Sinclair 2068. Loved that keyboard. It was truly, truly terrible in all the best ways. Just like this Amstrad below it, also truly awful. Something that wasn't awful, though, the Bauer. So obviously, if you guys didn't see, Garrett of Dixie Mac was in attendance. He brought, I think, 3 Bauer prototypes. And here's a few pictures of those. Very nice looking keyboard. We had a lot of pretty epic 65% there. I mean, we had the Bauer prototypes. We had the Chimera prototypes. We had the Kepler 65. And I know, in your clearly unbiased opinion, how did you feel about the Bauer next to your Kepler?
I love the Bauer. I mean, I think there's a picture floating around of me basically just admiring it on how much work he's put into it. I've been making fun of him on how much. I was like, you probably were in Fusion, zoomed way the hell in, and just making sure everything was perfect, and he was just laughing about it. So like you could tell, we could really tell his attention to detail in that. I'm definitely gonna try to get in on that group buy.
Yeah, definitely a really cool keyboard. I thought it was one of the best sounding keyboards that I've typed on
Hmm.
at the meetup.
Absolutely.
Particularly the one I think it was the one that Nathan built, the one that had modern Dolch on it, was just quite lovely. And you can even see that if you check out Nathan Kim's build stream that he did a week or two ago with it. Really good sounding keyboard. Absolutely loved it. So yeah, some beauty shots of these. Nice little Bauer booty.
The booty shot though, right there.
Yeah.
Oof.
I also love this kind of foot system, just like this strip. It's kind of like
Oh yeah.
bump on strip or whatever. I thought that was really cool. As well as this kind of bronzed bottom or whatever the heck this is supposed to be. I thought that looked really cool. He was also walking around with like one of the Bauer prototypes, having people sign them. So he had one. I think he shared a picture on his Instagram where he has like a bunch of people that signed the bottom in Sharpie, and that was pretty fun as well. So scrolling on down here, more keyboards, some more people. This is I am me, you are you. If you're a fan of his streams, he's a build streamer. He hung out at the Airbnb with us for a while too. Really wholesome guy, really nice guy. Had a really good time with him. Then here's an interesting picture of some people you might not know. So obviously over here, this is Mike of Novel Keys. Over here, these two are also part of Novel Keys for people that weren't aware. So this is, I hope I don't get these names wrong. I think this is Corey and this is Wendell. So Corey over here on the right, Wendell over here on the left. They are also part of Novel Keys. So just in case you're wondering who else is behind the Novel Keys screen, there you go. It's those two gentlemen. And they're both very nice, by the way. Here's Norbauer once again explaining something to Sir Corbin Dallas there. This looks like a Norba Force, so he's probably telling a little bit about that, which is pretty cool. And I believe this is, I think this is Krelbit's board. This is the Kintsugi TGR Jane with this kind of like crazy epic design on it. I think that's his. And JTK Yulsh, so that's kind of an interesting board as well. Then a few more shots. These are some more shots of mine. So here's my M60, my Tofu and a T60 E6. A few other things. Here's a nice shot of the Kepler with GMK Hamon on it, and my adorable little TMO50. Great pictures, by the way. Shout out once again to Hattie for all these. Very nice. This was a board I didn't get to see, and I'm kind of upset. This kind of Ergo Logic board here.
Oh wow.
This seems right up my alley for something I'd want to check out at a meetup.
For sure.
But I'd never actually want to use. But really, really
You never know.
interesting. Like,
You never
it's true.
know.
That's true. It's pretty meme. But it seems like a pretty fun kind of meme.
Are those wrist rests? What is that?
Yeah, I think that's the idea. So like you put your wrists on that and you kind of just hold your hands at an angle there. I don't know. I'm bummed I never saw it because I would have totally tried it. Oh, apparently they move. You and Ray both tried it. Nice. Yeah, the palm wrists don't look that comfortable. They actually look kind of like pointed, like convex, which is kind of strange. But it's still a really neat piece. And some more keyboards. This was kind of the screen that they had to show giveaway winners. Basically, they would post this up, and if your ticket number was on there, then you won something. So you just walk up to the booth, pick up something, you win. Pretty cool stuff.
I didn't know about that. Missed out.
Yeah, I don't know if you won anything. I was kind of scanning through. I won one thing, and I gave it to Geo.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. It was pretty fun though. Giveaways always pretty cool. And yeah, that's the whole album. This is a nice little kind of finish shot of the Seattle waterfront Ferris wheel. It's right here on the. This is a very obviously not a keyboard or anything, but very beautiful shot of my area out here. Love that. So yeah, that's actually that's the album that we wanted to go through. A lot of cool pictures in there. Thank you so much for letting us use it. Obviously, Hattie, appreciate that, my friend. But let's talk a little bit more about like our experiences at the meetup. Like, what were you disappointed in? Were you disappointed in any kind of boards or any kind of maybe people or something you that wasn't up to par for the meetup or the meetup weekend?
Um, I don't think I was disappointed at all. I was a little bit tired towards the end of, towards the end of the meetup. I was like actually searching for a vending machine to go get some gum or some. I think I came back with like a protein bar or something like that. No, but it was really great to kind of meet with people that I talked to online. There were some folks that I didn't recognize. Maybe they're just not active on Discord because I'm pretty active on Discord. But
Yeah.
it was great to pick brains of designers that were there. Just hanging out at the like drinking, eating. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a really good time. I feel like as awesome as the meetups are, I feel like my whole weekend experience, the meetup was like one of the least interesting parts, even though it's like what everyone's there for. Like
Right.
I have so much fun just hanging out with all these people like outside of the meetup, just like going to have a drink or going to like get lunch or whatever. Like that that is like so much more natural and it feels like so cool to just hang out with these people that like you've been talking to for months or years or whatever, but have never actually met.
Hmm.
It's such a surreal experience, like just talking to all these vendors and designers and
Hmm.
these enthusiasts that you've never seen before. It's really crazy to think about. So that was definitely pretty cool too. I did want to touch on something that happened, an Uber ride that a few of us had. That where I'm trying not to sound sarcastic here because it really was like one of the scariest moments like I've ever had in my life. Basically, it was myself, Jay, I believe Geo, and Sushi. I think we're all in this Uber with me, and it was oh no, it was Ray. It was Ray, not Sushi. It was Geo, Ray, myself, and Jay. So this is the Uber that almost ended Top Clack. So basically, we're like,
Stop
it
being
was.
dramatic.
Oh man, you weren't there. You weren't
I
there.
wasn't.
It was nuts, man. It was so much more intense than I can paint a picture of.
There's a button for that, right? There's like a safety button on the app. Basically, if you feel unsafe, you just press the button. So that's a tip for everyone. If you feel unsafe, you just press that button.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that, so I don't know. I don't Uber like a ton, but
Mhm.
it was Friday night. It was the night before the meetup. We were out drinking. I didn't take my car because I knew I'd be drinking, so I didn't want to drink and drive or anything. So you just call an Uber or whatever. It's no big deal. We were like 25 minutes away from our Airbnb. Not a huge deal. It's like I don't know. It's like 11 or midnight or like 1 a.m. maybe. I don't remember what time it was. But we call our Uber, and this guy. It's this big like Toyota Highlander or something like that, big SUV. And the guy's like, "Hey, you mind if I stop and like get some gas or whatever?" Because like he was pretty low, and like I was like, I'm not thinking about it. Like I'm having a good time. I'm like kind of drunk, and I'm like, yeah, man, whatever. It's no big deal. You got to have gas to get anywhere with a car, anyways. So he stops and gets gas, and like we take off. It's like it's no big deal. And then all of a sudden, he kind of starts like swerving between lanes and like driving like in the middle of two lanes, like down like doing like he's doing like 25 over under this bridge, right? And there's not like many cars around us, but he's doing like 20, 25 over the speed limit under this bridge, and he's kind of like in between two lanes. And that's when I kind of start looking around. I'm like, okay, what's going on here? I don't mind little speed, like no big deal, like cool, like whatever. But then he starts getting really close to like sideswiping car after car after car, and I'm on the passenger side. I'm in the passenger side. Like I'm sitting here and I'm looking, and he's like no joke, getting like within a couple like centimeters of some cars
Mhm.
on the right. And like I look over on this one, like it's like a Toyota Camry or something. I'm looking over, and like the Toyota, like he swerves to avoid our Uber. Like he
Oh
swerves out
my
of the way,
god.
and I was like, "Whoa!" Like what's going on here? And like all of us are just like stone cold quiet, thinking like we're about to die here. Like something's about to go wrong, and he's still doing like 20, 25 over the limit. And So he starts to like almost sideswipe like all these cars, and he gets like really close to like the left side of the wall when we're like under this like this passageway under this bridge or whatever, and like we come up on a green light in an intersection, and he stops, just straight up stops like it's a red light. It's a green light, but he just stops, and I'm thinking to myself like, what is going on? Is this guy's got to be on something, like this. And he's like he's got a really thick accent. I don't know where he was from, but he has like a really thick accent that I couldn't really understand most of the words that he was saying. So I'm kind of just like doing the thing where you like agree with whatever. You're like, cool, yeah, right on, man. Like I'm
just let me out of the car.
I'm just like playing with I'm just like rolling through this, and he's like yeah. Then he starts talking about like rap music and about how and I'm like, whoa, what's going on here, man? And
he just wants you to buy his mixtape.
And he's like, he stops at no joke. He stone cold stops at 3 green lights, and I think at one point we go down like a street, or we take like part of an intersection that is like a one way, and we go the wrong way, and like it was so brutal, man. Like I can't even like it sounds like not like a big deal, but when we were there, like it was a big deal. And it was really freaking scary. And like we got home, and we're all just like, holy crap. And all of us were just like freaking out. And Gio was like, I gotta give him like 1 star. Like people have to know about this. Like people might die.
What was his rating? What was his rating when you guys got on?
I don't remember. That'd be a question for Gio, because I think he was the one that had the Uber. Yeah, Ray and Gio were just like talking Discord like back and forth or whatever, just because like they didn't want to actually say anything out loud. But it was freaking scary, man. It was so freaking scary.
Our Uber ride was pretty nice. It was pretty comfortable.
Yeah,
we got there. It was pretty nice.
You didn't double the speed limit and almost take out like 5 people.
No, we had a pretty good conversation. Gave him a 5-star rating, good tip, and I was just like, all right, have a good one. And then you guys came in like, land.
Dude, it was quite something. I don't think he was drunk. I think he might have been on something else though. But it was an experience. Let's just say that. Thanks again for all the bits, Talisman Solutions. Appreciate that, my friend. I see you there.
Going off.
Yeah, so that was crazy. We are gonna wrap up the show pretty soon here, so we're just gonna do a little bit of a Q&A before we head out, just in case we didn't cover something from the meetup that you maybe wanted to hear about, but we didn't actually go over. So if you guys have any questions, make sure to get those in right now. You can use the @TopClack tag so I can see them a lot easier. And we'll do a little quick Q&A before we head out. Oof. Oh, boy 314, starting off with a good one. Etymology of the name 159.
Next. That one stays a secret.
Stays a secret?
That one stays a secret, I guess. I think that's the one that makes it fun. Not knowing.
What happened?
That's a good one, though.
I kind of want to know about it, honestly. What happened to the talking about the hosting aspect you were going to discuss? Oh, yeah, I totally forgot. I had that on the doc. Yeah, so actually, yeah, you can keep asking questions. We'll get back to them. I'm just going to talk real quick about organizing and hosting your own meetup, because a lot of people don't realize how easy it can be, and a lot of people kind of get a misconception in their head that meetups have to be these crazy, insane, multi-level conventions or whatever. Like, Seattle meetup, obviously pretty big. KeyCon, also very big. NorCal meetups, also very big. Those are probably like the 3 like huge trifecta, at least here in the US. But they don't have to be as insane and intense as they are. It's just like that because they're in such dense popular areas. So you might be thinking to yourself, hey, maybe I'm in an area that doesn't really have a whole lot of people. Like, we don't have a huge population. I'm one of 7 keyboard enthusiasts in my area or whatever. Like, whatever it may be. Like, if you want to go to a meetup, you definitely should. But maybe you don't have the money to fly. You just want to do something a little bit more local. You can organize your own meetup. You really can. It doesn't need to be a huge affair like the Seattle meetups or KeyCon or whatever. It could be a small thing. Just post a little interest check on RMK, maybe a couple other outlets, and be like, hey, I want to have a little meetup, a little get together in my area, a little interest check, and then you'd be surprised how many keyboard enthusiasts are in the world.
I mean, I think even our Airbnb just felt like a meetup in itself. Like, when I showed up, walked into the Airbnb, saw all the keyboards on the table, I was like, this is the meetup.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like, it doesn't matter how many people you have there, or like, how many keyboards you have there. If you get together with 4 other people in your area and you each bring like 1 or 2 boards each, That's a
Right.
meetup as far as I'm concerned. Like
Mm-hmm.
you're having you could have a good time. You're hanging out with keyboard enthusiasts. It doesn't need to be like a 300, 400, 500 person event. However many people you can get, it's totally worth it. Just to be able to actually talk and interact with keyboard enthusiasts that you've never actually seen before, and maybe you've never seen other keyboard enthusiasts in person before. You've just only talked online. It's very surreal to be in the same room with people like that, because up till then you just think, am I crazy for liking keyboards as much as I do? Like, what I do is like kind of silly here, and maybe my family like ostracized me for it or whatever. But like, there's other people just like you, like probably
Mm-hmm.
in your area, like talking about keyboards and stuff, and maybe they want to hang out with some keyboard people as well. So really
Right.
easy. You can just get it together, throw up a little interest check, maybe have a little venue. Depending on how many people you have, maybe you can just meet up at like a restaurant or a bar, a pub. A lot of times libraries have free conference rooms you can use. You can maybe reach out to something a little bit more larger, like a college or something, and maybe kind of rent a room if you're going to have a lot of people. That's what I did for the Seattle meetup in 2016. We had a college room that we kind of just rented out. But yeah, it's really not that hard. Basically, what I'm trying to get at here is you should go to meetups if you're at all interested in this hobby, because you will learn so much and you will experience so much, and it'll help you move forward in the community really, really fast and really well. Obviously, it's not always going to be perfect, but it's a big step in the right direction. And if you don't have the time or the money to go to one of these larger meetups, definitely consider organizing your own. Just throw up an interest check, easy peasy. It doesn't have to be too crazy. You don't need sponsors or anything. You just need other people and keyboards, and you just have a good time. If your meetup is going to be larger, you could consider talking to some vendors or something, see if they want to donate something for a little giveaway, little prize action, a little bit of incentive there. That's always cool. But I think a lot of people, especially, maybe not so much anymore, but for a while it felt like meetups were just kind of a big central hub to win giveaway stuff. And don't get me wrong, winning stuff is cool, giveaway stuff is cool. It's always fun. Don't get me wrong, but the heart of a meetup is the people. That's what you should be there for. You want to be talking to people, making friends, networking, trying out all their keyboards or whatever. If you're new to a meetup, just go there, type on a bunch of boards. You'll learn a lot. Um, Really, really good stuff. So
Yeah. Totally agree. I think for me, I mean, personally, it wasn't really about the keyboards. It was about the people. Especially if you, I don't know, if you find people that are in your area. I mean, you're just looking to hang out, and when you hang out, you're gonna be talking about keyboards. You're gonna be sharing your interests, whatever, what switches, talking about how you do this, how you do that. That was the best part for me. It was the people, not the keyboards.
yeah, exactly. Um, AB Kumar is asking Kepler 65 win. Also, will Alu Top be available?
Um, Alu top, probably. Nothing's for certain yet. I still need to hand solder the SMD components onto the prototype to verify it's working, get it to QMK, and I can start it. Um, but I really want to push for this Forge composite, and it's pretty close. So once I get that, I verified the aluminum version. Fitment's all good. I just need to verify the PCB, and then from there, I guess I don't know, play it by ear, and then just go with it.
Yeah, for sure. And I do plan on having 159 back on a little bit more of an interview series. This special episode here was mainly just about the Seattle meetup, so probably won't be answering a ton of questions about project keyboard stuff at the moment, but we'll get to that in a future episode. Trust me. But since there are just a couple, we'll touch on that. Waffle Donkey asking, will there be extras of the Sirius?
Yep. Um, I think I ordered like 30 extras at least. I'm not expecting to there to be like many B stock, so extras definitely because I mean Palm is pretty durable. I would it was a pretty reasonable price board. I'm just basically just gonna ship everything out. Once I confirm that everyone's received their stuff, then I'm just gonna post it. I'll just announce it. I'll sign up for my newsletter. Is probably the best way. I'm not really good with that. I'm not gonna send you spam or anything like that. It's just informational and stuff like that. Just sign up for the newsletter. I also have a Discord. You can join that. I'm pretty active on there.
Cool, cool. Pluto asking, standout boards that weren't yours from the meetup. So what boards did you like the most there that weren't yours?
Um, I was excited to see the HBCP in person because that I know I am you, you are me. He just built that right before the meetup, and can you see that was good? The Chimera um, was because like I was waiting for that because like Upas was showing me all, and I was really excited to see it, and it turned out great. And he was actually asking me what caps to put on there, and then I was like, okay, so it's gonna be black, a little bit of gold accent, and, based on the JL1 how it looks with the red Sam. I was like, you gotta put red Sam on that, so it looked great. And the Bauer, I was at first I'm not a 65% person, but when I saw the Bauer and the lines on it, you could tell like from the chamfers, the angles, the curves, like it was just so well thought out. Sounded amazing. I definitely need to join that. A lot of great boards.
Yeah, actually, those are the three that come to mind for me as well. The Chimera, the Bauer, and the HBCP. I thought all those were very very nice top tier boards. And
Yeah.
obviously, since I'm not you, I can say the Kepler 65. I think we both agree that the 65 is better than the TKL.
Hmm.
For me, just because it's a little bit smaller, it's a little bit not nearly as heavy, and like lugging around the 14-pound Kepler or whatever, it's cool for a minute, and then you're like,
Yeah.
okay, this is
Yeah.
unnecessary. But the
I think
65 much more reasonable.
I totally feel that. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the Kepler 65 was one of my favorites. The Bauer, Chimera, HBCP, and then just all those crappy vintage boards that are like bad to type on but really cool, like have a lot of character and history. Love that stuff. Merlin shares an Imgur picture of the first keyboard meetup in Seattle. This was actually a little before. I think I was still in the community, but I hadn't actually gone to a local meetup yet. So
But this is it. You know what I mean? This is the meetup.
yeah,
Just meeting up.
this is what, like 15 people in the back of a cafe. Like
Hmm.
that's all a meetup needs to be. Like you just have a few people and a few keyboards, and you just have a good time. Like never worry about how many keyboards are there or how
Yeah,
many
it doesn't
people are there
matter.
or who's there or whatever. Like you just have a good time, man. It's all part of the learning experience.
Yeah, I think they made a quick round at the meetup, just to kind of just touch the boards. You can't really hear anything because it's like Brian said, it's really loud in there because you have so many people coming in, and like feel you're not sitting down and you're not really like focusing. You're like standing up, leaning over, so you don't really get a good feel of what the board feels and stuff like that. Yeah, it's about the people, the vibes. That's the meetup.
Yeah. Show on stream. Oh my gosh. Okay, hold on. You shared it in
What am-
chat, so people. No, it's fine. I got it. I got it. Merlin was just asking me to show this particular picture. I got to swap viewers over there. There we go. So that's the presumably the first Seattle keyboard meetup picture. And like I said, it's like 15 people in like the back of a cafe or something. And if I remember correctly, from what I hear, at this point it was like 105 degrees in this room or 110 degrees or something. So you can see everyone's just like pouring sweat, which is kind of funny. And there's Merlin being all adorable there. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. Don't need a lot. Still have a really good meetup. All right, so we'll hit up a couple more questions before we head out here. So if you have any last minute questions, at Top Clack Tag, please. Undercover Brother is asking, any boards you were surprised that sounded nice? That's an interesting question. Boards surprised that sounded nice.
Surprising was actually your M60 with the box pinks.
Bucks Pinks. I had a few people tell me that actually.
That actually, so like when I was at the meetup, I went over to Mike's table and I was just playing with all the box, because everyone talks about the box switches, blah blah blah, but like I really want to start using them again. And when I was like going through all the switches, and when I got to the box pinks, I'm like, dude, I need this. I pulled up my phone and I was just like, I'm gonna order some right now. It's sold out. I'm like, dang it. So Mike, if you're watching, please restock the box pinks.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. It's funny because like you don't see a whole lot of people using like box switches anymore these days. Ever since they when they were first launched, they were a pretty
right.
good product actually compared to what was else on the market at that point in time. But they went through Boxgate, which was kind of the incident where they weren't out of spec, but they were, quote unquote out of spec for a lot of the keycaps that we use in the community, like GMK. They were still the right spec for what they were supposed to be, but our community kind of had a different spec, so we had to have a misspec between GMK keycaps and box switches, to where it was like cracking a lot of stems, and obviously that's kind of a big problem. It was pretty quickly remedied, but at that point in time, there was already so many, quote unquote faulty units in the wild for our community that it was kind of a bummer. And I think people kind of lost a lot of heart for the box switches. People stopped caring as much. But at the end of the day, if you get the revised units that are actually like good, they're good switches. They really are. And like the box pinks with cat profile, the M60, I love that board. That is such a cool setup.
Right.
So yeah, I think box switches is underrated. I'd like to see them used more often. But I guess if he's selling out box pinks, it can't be too bad, right?
Yeah, they're not. I don't think they're probably not doing too bad. I think also what surprised me was the your Kepler. I didn't know that they had Zelios V2s in them when I was typing on it. I don't. What did you do to that?
So I think the biggest thing is the palm plate, right?
Okay.
Because palm plate, obviously, the one that you sent me is gonna provide a lot deeper and denser of a thock. It takes away, like, when people are like, oh, I don't like Zeal housings because they sound bad or whatever. Like like so many people in the community say that. Palm is like a huge remedy for that. Palm instantly makes any switch sound much deeper and like much. I want to use the word creamier, but I think that's a bad word. But like that's the only thing I can think. Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it. But that's like the one way I can kind of describe like the typing experience on Palm, because it really does alter the way a switch sounds very, very dramatically.
How did you lube the switches?
So those are actually lubed by Straight Classy with 205 grade 0.
Oh, I'm gonna have to bug him.
Yeah, tell him you want it my method.
Yes,
because I'm pretty sure that was part of the second batch I sent him after I had already kind of tweaked the way and asked for different things.
Okay.
So yeah, if you tell him to just do it the same way that I did, then or the way that I like it should work out a little bit. Yeah, the Quakems method. There you go. So yeah, shout out to Straight Classy for the lube job on that. But yeah, I love that board so much. The palm plate, like the carbon fiber plate with the inks. Don't get me wrong, it was pretty cool. But that board really comes to life, I feel like, with the palm plate and Zelios. Like, just the deep snap thought that you get with that, so smooth, so satisfying. I'm going to need one of those Kepler 65s so I can throw some Zelios. Yeah, so really good stuff there. Really good stuff. Boards that I was surprised it sounded nice. Man, I don't even know. It's not something I really thought about actively.
It was rough. It was like loud at the meetup, so unless it was like at the Airbnb, it was kind of rough to really hear anything.
I thought the IDB 60 sounded pretty good. I also really just love the typing feel of that. I thought the Prophet, which was one of the boards that Jay brought, I thought that board sounded really interesting. It didn't sound bad, but it was really, really, really quiet. And he just had like lubed inks in there, normal inks, not the silent ones, and it sounded so unbelievably quiet. It was a great board, by the way, though. It was really, really, really awesome. But I was surprised at that sound, because I thought it was going to sound like clacky, like inks, but it was almost like silent switches,
right?
Which was kind of interesting.
Yeah, I didn't get to hear it, unfortunately.
Undercover Brother following that up with best lube job. Oh man, I don't know. There were like a few people like at the Airbnb that were just like, how did like I do with this? And I'm like, I am not like a god at lubing. Like, I have a lot of experience, but I don't know why like everyone just thinks to come to me first. Because
the worst stab lube job goes to Jay though.
Jay had a couple rattly stabs on some of his boards, but
every.
Hey, I try to be nice here, man.
Oh, it's Jay. That's why I'm doing it.
Yeah, I mean, we love Jay, obviously. Yeah. But yeah, gotta teach him how to lube stabs. But I mean, lubing stabs are just bad in general. Like, even if you're like perfectly lubing stabs, like they're never gonna stay that way forever. It's just it's a lose-lose basically. We need better stabs in the community. That's the biggest thing right now. We need a stab that is quiet and smooth out of the box.
I'm okay with the GMK stabs, to be honest. I mean, it's a little bit of work, but the stabs are nothing compared to the switches.
It's
Like I'll
true.
do stabs and soldering. Like I'm okay with that. But when you gotta do springs and then you gotta do the stem and then the housing, the top housing, I'm just like, dude, I don't have time for this shit, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Kumar asking, what is a new material, e.g., forged carbon composite, is a new direction for this community? Would you like to see? Sorry, would you like to work with or see others work with while making keyboards? All right, so what new material would you like to either work with or see others work with when making keyboards? So
Um,
that's maybe a good question for you, since you're that's kind of like your territory right now. With you're kind of pioneering the Palm thing, and now you're working with the forged carbon composite.
well, I mean, the palm thing was just. I mean, I think it's more of I mean, I wasn't. I'm still an enthusiast, right? I'm a consumer as well too. Like I joined Group Eyes. I love keyboards, and I hang out in the community a lot. So I see like a huge influx of boards. It looks great. Alu's great, anodization's great. But then I had other hobbies where like I used to fix up my car and stuff like that. And carbon fiber is like pretty popular. And I was like, dude, why not just do carbon fiber for this and just trying stuff out? I mean, that's kind of how we all got together, right? Because we got so curious about um, the keyboard, the switches, the lube, the material, and I think we're just kind of like I want the community to start experimenting with like other materials. You have Jax who's working with UHMW and all that. So I mean, I love it. Everyone's pushing to work with new materials and testing new things.
Yeah. Um, I don't know if I have any materials in particular I want to see people work with, because I'm certainly not a materials specialist or expert, but I know we covered a topic yesterday on the show, the NR65. There's going to be a G10 version of that, which is a very dense style of plastic. And lately, with the introduction of Palm, like Palm has changed the way I feel about keyboards.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, it has me wanting to try more things that are not
Right.
metal. And I think 2019 is going to be like the latter half of this year, and like maybe into 2020 is going to be kind of like the year of non-metal keyboard components. And it
So
makes me really happy to actually see like that stuff that's like more the mid tier and the higher end of the market that isn't just metal, because most, like, let's be honest, like a lot of keyboards are just rehashes of the same stuff. They really are. Like
mhm.
it's an extruded rectangle. You have like your some designs, whatever, aluminum frame, brass plate, brass weight. Like
Right.
we've done it so many times now. And while you can do cool designs and make things aesthetically nice, that doesn't necessarily always alter the typing experience, which is my biggest thing in the community. I care much more
Mhm.
about how a board feels and sounds than how it looks. And
Right.
so that's why the Pawn really grabbed my attention. I'm really interested in stuff like the G10 and the stuff that Jax is working on as well.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. To my understanding, I thought G10 was supposed to be fiberglass, like the same thing as FR4, but I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong with that.
It could be,
Um,
yeah.
yeah.
I'm not an expert on it.
I don't. I'm not either because FR4 is actually not an actual material. It's just a fire rating 4. So we've been kind of calling it wrong,
Yeah,
but whatever. The Kepler 65 is actually going to come with aluminum. So if you typed on it, that was actually an aluminum plate.
yeah, yeah. 'Cause you just had an aluminum top, aluminum plate, and then the steel bottom, if I recall.
I think it's the steel that's making it different. I'm not sure. Gotta mess around with that.
Is that what you're typing on right now?
Here, I don't know if you guys can hear it, but
Yeah. The mic doesn't pick it up very well.
okay.
Like if it like because it doesn't sound as good, because I know what it sounds like in person, and it was really
Right.
good. So it just sounds really bad over the mic.
My bad.
I don't know. Hey man, that's just how it goes. The homie 408 is asking, were there a lot of TGR or OTD boards at the meetup? There were definitely a handful of TGR boards.
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure I saw one Alice, and I saw at least 3 Janes that I recall. OTD boards,
I don't think I saw any OTDs.
yeah, which is actually kind of interesting. So, someone at the meetup that a lot of you veterans might remember, his name is Lister. He's a very OG keyboard enthusiast. At previous meetups, he actually used to bring. I imagine he still owns a lot of the old like KMac boards.
Mm-hmm.
Like legit, like he owns like multiple KMac ones and KMac twos and stuff like that. Like all like the legit like old school like custom keyboard stuff. and I think he has some OTD stuff as well. But he was there, but I didn't see any boards that he brought. So it's possible he brought something and I just didn't see it. But he has a lot of really cool stuff that you don't really see anywhere else anymore. Osiris asking, how does something sound creamy? Uh, that's why I was saying, like, it's a bad way to describe it, but I can't think of another word. Like the actual acoustic property sounds like you're typing in key. I don't even know how to phrase
I'll
this.
take
man.
over. I'll take over. Okay, for me,
Be careful with what you say.
I know. I got this. I'm not trying to take the stream down. I love you guys. For me, when you type on Palm, it slightly mutes the sound a little bit and softens the bottom out. And for acoustic wise, I think it's like a muted raindrops almost. I don't know. That's the best way I can describe it.
Yeah,
Creamy.
it's like,
I don't know. We're sure where that's coming.
all right. It's like you have like a really quiet, tranquil lake, and then you have like big, not just raindrops, but like big raindrops falling on the lake. Yeah. So like it's like a very deep thock, but it's also kind of a dense and precise sound too. So it's not like a topra thock, which is kind of like thocky, but it kind of just like leaks everywhere also. But the palm is like way more precise. Creepy. Oh man, 8-bit derp, which is a great username by the way, says, so I missed out on box jades and went with box noble yellows. What are you and 159's thoughts on those? I know they're clicky, but they're supposed to be special edition. So the noble yellows, I haven't tried those yet, but let me bring up the specs here. I think that's one of those switches that has.
Wait, those the inks, right?
No. Noble yellow. No, I'm pretty sure the noble yellows are a box switch, right? I'm just gonna double check here. Yeah, so that's part of the Kale China style box switch line, which is available on Novel Keys. There's the Chinese red, the noble yellow, the glazed green, and the ancient gray, which are really interesting names.
Oh, that was a while ago, wasn't it? It was like
this was a little while ago. So the noble yellow is actually very similar to the box pink in terms of specs. So this is one of those switches that has an actuation weight that is actually higher than the bottom out force. So the actuation is at 65 grams, the bottom out 50 grams. So this is actually not uncommon for these box clicky switches because they have a lot of tactility they have to overcome. They're actually like somewhat sharp. If you've ever used a box Jade or a box Navy, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's a very sharp tactility, but the spring weight itself is actually not that large, not that heavy. I mean, so the noble yellow probably really similar to the box pink. In terms of it being clicky, having the same travel distance, and having very, very similar actuation bottom out specs. So I would say it's probably a pretty good switch. I'm a big fan of box clickies, honestly. I think they're all pretty good.
Mm-hmm. I'm actually a fan of clicky switches right now. I actually bought the, what was it, the blue inks. I'm going to mess with that. I'm going to try to bug Mike about getting those box jades in. Actually, and Clay or Damage Point, he sent me some retool blues, so I'm gonna start messing with some clickies this year.
Interesting. Yeah. Nothing wrong with clicky. I think clicky switches tend to get a bad rep in our community just because
I started with clicky. You know what I mean? I can't hate on it.
Yeah, I mean a lot of us did too. Some of my earlier boards, MX Blues. I'm not the biggest fan of them now, but I do like a lot of the Kale clicky options, and obviously, you know, shout outs to all the vintage big boys like the Beam Spring, the Model F. And stuff like that. I'm a really big fan of those boards, and you know those are legendary clickies. But I think you know everyone's so about like lube linears these days, which is interesting because when I got into the community, nobody really liked linears.
Remember that sticker where it's like F linears? I still have that somewhere.
Oh, I have one of those too. Yeah. But even like years before that, it was just all about tactile and clicky switches. Like even in like their like K-Max and their OTDs and like all their custom boards, people use MX Blues. You use MX Blues or you use MX Clears, or you know, some of the rare people would use like MX Blacks. Like that was it. Like this was before, you know, Cherry's patent was up in 2014, so there weren't no Gatorons, there were Zelios or Kale or whatever. It was Cherry. You used Cherry and that was it, and you liked it.
Uh-huh.
So
I
Yeah.
mean, I like variety. Like just I like variety. I like being able to kind of cycle through different switches. I don't know. Maybe this year I'm good with linears. Next year, try some clickies. And then tactiles and all that stuff. So
Yeah. Variety is the end game for me, man.
yeah,
It is.
definitely.
Yep. UB asking a favorite keycap set at the meetup that you don't own. Interesting. So, favorite key set that we don't own that we saw. Uh,
I mean, I just got Shoko before I got to the meetup. I think I'm good for now. I think it's minimal. Dixie, please ship those out ASAP. Thank you.
yep, yep. I'm waiting on mine as well. Minimal does look pretty good. We saw it on one of Jay's keyboards that he brought, so that was cool. Um, hmm. Shoko also looked really good in person. I liked that. I don't know. I don't think there were any other sets that I don't have that I saw there that I wanted. There probably was, but now I just want a Q key for my Space Cadet.
Yeah, I definitely have way more caps than I have boards. So I mean, because I've been keycap hoarding just so that when I get prototypes or new boards, I can just swap stuff out and kind of show people. So I've been more invested in key sets than boards lately.
Yeah. Gasp asking a really good question, actually. What was the worst non-vintage or weird board to type on? So I
Hmm.
guess worst modern board to type on that we found there. I didn't actually type on a ton of boards. I looked at a lot of boards, but I didn't really type on a lot of them because I'd read the cards and see like they're pretty like uh I don't want to say mediocre, but like
Right.
normal expected switches, unmodded switches. It was just there are a lot of levels of keyboard enthusiasts. Some people take the time and the money to do things, and some people don't care as much, and that's fine.
You
Um,
said the best modern board.
but the
Uh,
worst, the
oh, the
worst, the
worst.
worst board. What was the worst board you typed on that wasn't a vintage board, basically?
I don't think it was like a board in particular. I'm not going to blame the board because I think it was more of like the loop on the switches that made it feel bad. I know I ran into a handful of boards where it felt like it was drowned in 205 grade zero or whatever, a really thick lube. And I don't know. I mean, obviously all preferences, but like I couldn't tell. Like I don't know what I was typing on. It was just kind of just I'm just slugging through. I'm like I couldn't tell if the board felt good, sounded good. Like it just took away me criticizing or like really knowing if I liked the board or not. So I guess there's that.
Yeah, that's kind of the big problem with a lot of loopers these days. A lot of people, grease oils used to be very popular. Oils not so popular anymore. A lot of people like those very thick, heavy greases now, and a lot of people
Yeah.
just apply a lot. And you can make switches very smooth that way. You're right, but then you're typing in mud, and your switch loses all personality.
Yeah.
And it doesn't. And like you said, like you didn't know what you're typing on. It doesn't even matter. Like they're all. It doesn't even matter at that point. They're all just the
You
same
can't even
switch.
hear anything either because like you'll type and you don't hear the bottom out. You don't know if there's like an even sound to it. I don't know. I
Yep.
don't know. Preference though, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. That's a good question, though. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can pinpoint a single worst typing experience board there that wasn't a vintage board because most of the boards that I typed on there were vintage. Um, let's see. Scrolling through some questions here. Sorry, guys. Trying to catch up. Mr. Petrov donates 498 bits. Thank you very much for that. It's a very random number, but we appreciate that.
I think he's
Uh,
trying to even his number out in the
that
all
could be
time.
it.
Yeah.
That could be it. Yeah. Tal's
He,
been
he's
asking.
he does accounting, or he was in finance, right? So
Tal's been asking any new and attractive examples of crevice lighting. That's an interesting question.
crevice lighting.
So crevice lighting is kind of at this point it's kind of like a top clack meme.
Uh,
Many weeks ago, maybe even a few months ago at this point, we checked out a board. God, what was it called? Someone in chat's gonna know. I forgot what it's called, but it was a really like obscure board that had a lot of like acrylic like crevices, basically with 236 LEDs on the keyboard, and it was basically it's like the entire thing like glowed through like crevices. Basically, it was really really strange. It was not a very attractive board, so it kind of just became a joke at that point that you'd have crevice lighting, that every board needed some kind of crevice that's lit with 236 LEDs.
I don't know. I don't use RGB or lighting. I usually just turn it on for the photos, and
Yeah, exactly.
I'll turn it off, and that's it. That's it.
Yeah. Boy314 asking, if we make the click bars really thin, could we make a quote-unquote clicky linear? And that was actually one of the first click bar switches that came out of Kale. So once they revamped their factory, one of the first things that our enthusiast community saw was the speed line of switches, Kale's speed line. And they had a linear, a tactile, and two clickies. So the linear was the speed silver, the tactile was the speed copper, the clickies were the speed bronze, and the speed gold. And the speed bronze actually was very similar to that. It used a very small click bar. When you were actually typing at speed, there was no tactility whatsoever. If you pressed it really, really slow, you could feel just a small, very tiny bump if you were really looking for it. But I mean, for all intents of typing purposes, it was a clicky linear, and that was a really interesting switch. It was also very smooth. I liked that switch quite a bit, actually.
I had it. I was using that switch for a while, like probably for almost a year. I think the only thing that bothered me about that switch was that if you press really slow on it, it would actually actuate not where the click was, just because it's just kind of fake. It's a fake tactile switch. It's not actuating when it hits the click bar. So I guess that would be the only gripe about it. But other than that, it was pretty smooth, if I recall correctly. So
Yeah. Yeah. Dewey asking if there's a bounty on my Q key, my missing Q key from Space Cat. I'll if someone finds my Q key, I'll pay him a little bit of money. Yeah. I really want that key back, man. I love this set. Petra asking, what is your /159's favorite Bauer color combination that you saw at the Meetup? Oh man, I don't even remember. I'm gonna have to go through this album again to see all the colors that he brought, because I don't even really remember.
Yeah, I don't remember the colors, but I might ask him to get me I don't know, custom colors, maybe.
Yeah.
Right?
yeah, sure.
Right, Dixie? Right.
Right. I think the bronze one was kind of cool, but it wasn't really my style. I think I like the one that was like the dark gray. I think it was. I'm trying to remember and go through the pictures right now. Whatever gets me more cyan, that's the one I like most. But other than that, the gray, I was kind of more into that. Joey asking, did you see any Polaris boards at the Meetup? No, there were no Polaris prototypes to my knowledge that were there. I believe I think the protos are all with AIO3, and he lives in Japan now, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So, Pluto19 asking, ugliest board / key set? Sheesh, I don't know. I feel like,
do shirts count?
is it a board or a key set?
Key set?
I don't know, man. I mean, I don't think there was anything like particularly ugly there. Like, you could pretty much take any board and put on a GMK set, and like it's gonna look like decent. Like, it's not like it's gonna look terrible, right? Like, even if you don't get the colors like perfect or whatever, like you don't match it or you don't contrast it perfectly, like it's not like the board's necessarily like ugly. Like, oh my god, that board is awful. I never want to touch it. Like, we don't really have a whole lot of that in the community.
I think to me, it's all about pairing. It doesn't matter about the key set. If you can pull it off with whatever board or design, it'll look good or look bad. But I don't know. People have different tastes.
Yeah, definitely.
I didn't really see anyone's board as particularly bad, because I feel like most people spent a lot of time on putting stuff together, so there wasn't really a board that like stood out unless someone was like memeing it. To be honest.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Captain Schwaz got me on the link. So it was the Morgree Moyen. It's a 96 key. If anyone was curious about that crevice lighting keyboard that we were talking about, yeah, you should take a look at that one. 236 RGB LEDs for crevice lighting. It's
Okay.
it's something. It's something.
Lisa, not creamy though.
Josh, please. Oh man. On that note, we've actually caught up on all the questions, so now's a good time to head out for the night. We're approaching 2 hours now, and we've gotten through all the questions and topics that we wanted to talk about. So pretty good stuff, guys. All right, we'll get 10 Strong's question because he has one last one for us. What's your 2 favorite pairing sets for silver anno boards? So favorite key sets for silver boards.
Muted.
Yeah, muted on silver, pretty classic.
Muted, white on black, or I guess it was 2, right? You can do white on black, or you can also do Honeywell. Honeywell looks pretty good. Depends on its tone, actually.
That's true. I don't really I like Honeywell. I don't know if I like it on silver boards though. I think I like it more on gray.
Gray. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so I think the easy answer is muted and 9009. Those are pretty all-purpose. Probably the most all-purpose key sets.
Anything looks good on silver, to be honest. You can throw anything on there; it'll look good.
It's true. Silver is pretty easy to adjust with.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys had a good time, like we did. Of course, 159. Thank you so much for joining me on this special episode.
Thanks for having me.
Anytime. We'll get you back for a more thorough interview another time. I already got one written up. It'll be fun.
Sweet.
You're gonna hate it. It's gonna be absolutely amazing. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for all the bits and the subs today. Definitely really appreciate it. On Sunday, Jay has a build stream, 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 Eastern, and 8 UK time. So if you want to check out a build stream, that's going to be happening on Sunday. But yeah, until next time, hope you guys have a good night.
All right. Peace.